is what he has to say on this very auspicious or important day. Auspicious in more ways than one. It's been a battle through the 90s onwards to deal with the issues of HIV, whether it's stigmatization, whether it's access to medication, whether it's the way we treat, we treat people or we treat each other. All that part of the discussion. Let's hear what the good doctor, Dr. Adams, has to say.
Each year, December 1st is commemorated as World AIDS Day, an international day dedicated to raising awareness of the AIDS pandemic caused by the spread of HIV infection, to recognize those who continue to work to end AIDS, and to pause to remember those who have left us because of this disease. The theme for World AIDS Day 2020 is Global Solidarity, Shared Responsibility. The Pan-Caribbean Partnership Against HIV and AIDS, PANCAP, endorses this theme as it effectively captures the phenomenal effort of our public health champions in responding to the COVID-19 pandemic while working to maintain the gains made in the HIV response. Healthcare providers working in HIV have also been called to the battlefield to respond to COVID-19, a clear demonstration of the type of solidarity in health that is needed for us to live in a safe and healthy Caribbean. The coronavirus pandemic has disrupted health services. An effective HIV response requires continuous service delivery in areas such as prevention, treatment, and laboratory services. Moreover, HIV care and treatment services are dependent on community action to reach those at risk and to support those currently living with HIV to ensure that they are reached and retained in care. National AIDS programs and civil society organizations across the region continue to be challenged, especially in the area of HIV testing, as lockdowns and other COVID-19 measures have prevented persons from accessing services. However, as the region has proven in the past, rising to any challenge with collaboration and innovation is a hallmark of our Caribbean people. Public health practitioners across the region have utilized strategic collaboration to respond to COVID-19 and protect the gains made in the HIV response. In Belize, Enrique Romero, Executive Director of the National AIDS Commission, used his alliance with social workers, adherence counselors from the Ministry of Health Belize, peer navigators, the National AIDS Commission, district committees, and civil society organizations to conduct a needs assessment of people living with HIV. The assessment revealed that many people living with HIV were desperately in need of food items to remain adherent to their medication. Enrique jumped into action, and within a few days, he worked tirelessly with the Ministry of Health, Development, Social Transformation, and Poverty Alleviation to expedite assistance to those individuals through the Government of Belize's Food Assistance Program. Loss of employment, lack of essential living support, and depleting nutritional supplies are some of the main issues that undermine adherence to HIV medication. COVID-19 has indeed exacerbated these circumstances. In Jamaica, Candace Livermore, Executive Director of the Jamaica AIDS Support for Life, JASL, responded to the needs of our clients by soliciting donations and writing proposals for small grants to support clients with nutritional support, care packages, sanitation items, and financial support for transportation to attend clinic visits. Such actions, in the face of so many adversities, may have saved many lives and protected the gains made in the region's HIV response. In Barbados, Dr. Natasha Rambaran and her team from Equals Barbados arranged for delivery of multi-month medication supplies, provided care via telemedicine, and donated food hampers sourced from donations of an external grant. These are just a few examples of our Caribbean public health champions recognizing their shared responsibility and taking decisive action to ensure the continuity of HIV services during COVID-19. COVID-19 has thrown our national programs and civil society into circumstances that demanded their best. I am humbled and inspired by the response of our public health practitioners and civil society leaders. I have only highlighted a few of these practices that have emerged from the region, but there are so many more success stories to share. This World AIDS Day, I urge our partners to share their stories and celebrate the success of maintaining the region's HIV response in the face of COVID-19. Our region has responded to the global pandemic with cooperation, unity, and innovation, which ensured the continuity of HIV services and better health outcomes for people living with HIV. Our governments, national programs, community mobilizers, and the public sector stepped up to provide the needed services so that people living with HIV can remain on their medication. Time will reveal how many lives were saved because our region acted promptly and effectively. I do believe that despite the challenges of 2020, our region can amplify the HIV response and fulfill the CRF's mandate of a Caribbean-free of AIDS and new HIV infections, in which all people are happier, healthier, productive, safe, and respected. The partnership remains committed to supporting this momentum, and we stand in solidarity with everyone as each of us do our part in ending AIDS in the region.
Although you had an address from Dr. Rosamond Adams, Director of PANCAP, on World AIDS Day. You listen to Win FM, it's 90.9, it's 11 minutes after the matching hour. And this very first segment of Voices comes your way, compliments Rams Trading and TDC Group of Companies.
Feel the magic happening.
Campari.
Taste. Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
Mary, why you look so depressed?
Girl, nothing happening this season.
Are you kidding? You've never heard about the masquerade of savings at TDC Insurance?
Girl, tell me more.
This season, you'll get up to 60% off your motor insurance premium and up to 30% off your property insurance premium. Plus, you get a chance to win up to $1,500 in TDC gift cards in their masquerade savings raffle.
Some mask? Like a mask? After all, TDCIC keeping us protected. TDCIC, we take good care of you. Guaranteeing you peace of mind.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much to TDC and Rams Trading, proud sponsors of Voices. And today, of course, the first day of December, when many people are making plans for their shopping and their cleaning and reacquainting with some friends, perhaps, who you've perhaps not been in contact with for quite some time. There's something about the end of the year that makes you want to reach out and say, how are you doing? How are things with you? All right, so it's World AIDS Day today. We have an address by the Junior Minister of Health, Ms. Hazel Brandy Williams, which we'll play for you in just a moment. The message from the United Nations asking that people do not allow the focus on COVID-19 to just occupy all the space and forget that there's another global pandemic that is still in need of serious effort, and that's HIV. HIV infects just about 1.7 million people every year and kills about 690,000 people every year. And people who have less are those who are more vulnerable, of course. Inequalities mean that those who don't have much, the less you have, perhaps sometimes that affects your rights as well. And you may not be heard, you may become invisible, you may be underestimated, underrated, and disrespected because you don't have the access that you need to have because you are just, in plain words, poor. So the inequalities mean that those who are the least able to stand up for their rights are still the most affected. So COVID-19, according to the United Nations, has been a wake-up call for the world about inequalities in particular, inequalities in health. And the fact is, those inequalities will affect everyone, especially when you're hearing more and more now talk about the all-of-society approach. That means that you can't leave anyone behind, because that person that you left behind could become a source of serious problems for everyone else. So we're urging today to eliminate stigma, show some respect, eliminate discrimination, be empathetic, and put people at the center of their responses, and look out for their human rights and their gender responsive. You must have gender responsive approaches as well, and of course, not to judge too much in your response. So the facts and figures so far: 38 million people across the globe are living with HIV. Close to 26 million people are having access to antiretroviral therapy, and that therapy has been a game changer in the lives of so many people. 1.7 million people became newly infected with HIV last year. 1.7 million people. And close to 700,000 people died from AIDS-related illnesses last year alone. So, serious matter requires serious thoughts, serious approaches, and of course, ways and means of optimizing what is available.
World AIDS Day is observed on the 1st of December every year. At this time, we recognize the significant achievements made in the fight against HIV and AIDS, to continue awareness activities, to galvanize communities into actions geared towards the prevention and control of this chronic infectious disease, to support those people who are living with HIV, and to pay homage to those who have passed over the years. The theme for 2020 is Global Solidarity, Shared Responsibility. This theme was chosen in light of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, which has really demonstrated the importance of health and the health workforce, and how intricately health is linked with issues such as plagued the progress of work in HIV and AIDS, such as inequalities, economic development, human rights, gender equality, and others. The theme emphasizes how a unified response to the challenges in the prevention and control of HIV and AIDS and other infectious diseases such as COVID-19 can make the difference. We are responsible for each other, and our actions ultimately determine the outcome. No one is safe until all are safe. Individuals and communities have a significant role to play in ending HIV and AIDS. A collective effort in addressing major issues such as stigma and discrimination and accessibility to services by vulnerable groups is required. An all-of-society approach can have far-reaching success, whereby the mantra, "Leave no one behind," will ensure that all who need care are able to access services without fear or reservation. The ongoing COVID-19 pandemic threatens the successes made over the years to end HIV and AIDS by 2030. Lockdowns and other strict prevention measures in response to the novel disease has created a major challenge. The plight of vulnerable populations during the pandemic has exposed the health inequalities that continue to exist in our societies. Yet, with correct planning and robust management measures, the 2030 goal can still be achieved. Our response to this pandemic can demonstrate how government and private sector agencies and services can work together to fight a common enemy. There is a global call this year to ensure that health is fully financed and health systems are strengthened. Access for all to life-saving medicines, vaccines and diagnosis, and other health services, respect of human rights, and recognition of the rights of women and girls, and gender equality. In Nevis, we continue to do our part to make sure that no one is left behind. The HIV/AIDS unit within the Health Promotion Unit makes certain that even with ongoing response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Nevisian community still has access to counseling, testing, and treatment. The successes and achievements of the program over the years could not be overturned, and so I commend the staff within the Ministry of Health who work to ensure that these services are maintained for all at-risk groups, pregnant clients, and the general population. Partnership with other ministries, groups, and businesses is encouraged as it strengthens our health systems and programs. In observance of World AIDS Day and to create further public awareness, the unit carried out a series of activities at the end of this November under the theme Lime Responsibly, encouraging all to be responsible while engaging or enjoying recreational activities. Every responsible act demonstrates shared responsibility and contribute in some way to global solidarity in addressing HIV and AIDS.
That address there from the Junior Health Minister, Hazel Brandy Williams, to mark the occasion of World AIDS Day. That is observed today, the first day of December, 2020.
Get more than just VAT. TDC Automotive is giving you more. Pay no VAT on the first $100,000 on any vehicle. No deposit, no interest for the first 3 months. That's no VAT. No deposit, no interest. We give you more, so you save more. Receive up to $3,000 in cashback credit. Save up to 60% off your insurance premium. Get your personalized TDC token for 2 years of instant savings. Plus, save thousands in free extras. Get more than just VAT from TDC Automotive. We're number one for a reason. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey kids, drink healthy! Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking, football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
You're tuning to Win FM is 90.9. It's first day of December 2020, and the Atlantic hurricane season officially ended yesterday. And well, that's what they say. Well, a tropical depression was announced in the northeastern Atlantic, and we'll keep an eye on that as well. We did reach out to officials yesterday, and perhaps sometime during the course of today's program, we'll have a chat about this year's season, some of the lessons, some of the things that happened this year that we are keeping an eye on. And of course, one change has been the fact that you are dealing with COVID-19 in a hurricane season, so the whole issue of shelters, responses within the realm of social distancing, physical distancing, and all the rest of it, certainly having an impact on preparation costs, and of course making adjustments where necessary to accommodate people. And I want to say good morning right now to all my Bajan friends, or perhaps I know a particular partner likes to be called Barbadian. So all my Barbadian friends. I don't want to offend anybody in this auspicious day after occasion. It is, of course, yesterday the anniversary, independence anniversary of Barbados. And I have many Bajan friends. And I want to say all the very best to you from all of us here at Win FM 98.9. Hope you had a great day. We have some coverage in our newscast as well from Barbados today on what was said. The ceremonial parade, we had the removal of the Nelson statue. Wes Hall now has a statue in Barbados. A few people were given awards. I think Andrew Mason got an award. You may know Andrew Mason. He's been doing cricket for quite some time now. Very prolific commentator and he has a program that is franchised across the Caribbean as well. He also received an award. We'll play a little bit of that report for you now, so you can hear what were some of the issues raised by the Barbados Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley, and of course the Governor General of Barbados as well. This report comes to you from Barbados Today.
It's Tuesday, December 1st, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Frontline workers will be honored for their work during the COVID-19 pandemic come January next year. Prime Minister Mia Motley made the announcement in her address to the nation during yesterday's 54th Independence Day Parade and the National Awards ceremony at National Hero Square. She told those attending the event that government will table the necessary legislation to confer such honors and also amend the National Heroes Act.
Our Parliament will have laid before it a special piece of legislation for the conferment of the Barbados Humanitarian Medal for all of our frontline workers in this country, regardless of where they fought. We also will amend the National Heroes Act in order to be able to ensure that we can confer more than one gold medal of achievement for extraordinary service in causes that literally have protected this country over the course of the previous year. When we passed that legislation, it was always contemplated that it would be conferred on one. But we must now recognize that this truly has taken a village not simply to build the nation, but to also protect the nation. And I look forward to a date in early January when we shall bring from the doctors, the nurses, the lab assistants, the lab technologists, the supermarket workers, the port officers, the customs, the immigration, the list too long to mention, but which we all know that have allowed all of us now to stand before this country today, comfortable that our future is still secure against the background of those who stood and protected us in this a moment of one of our gravest challenges since becoming an independent nation.
Prime Minister Motley also assured those who have been affected by job losses and have not been paid their severance that they will receive their money from the National Insurance Scheme. She, however, made it clear that government will recover those funds from employers.
I ask those who believe that they are threatened or that they are compromised to recognize that this government will not leave you alone, will not leave you without voice, and will not leave you without seeing you. And even if it means that we must stand in the breach through the provision of severance to those who have been left out by their employers, rest assured we shall do so without blinking an eye, but we shall equally, without blinking an eye, recover the funds of the National Insurance Scheme from those who have failed to pay the 75% of the severance due to each and every worker. And why? Because this is who we are. We do not leave people standing on the side of the road.
The Prime Minister also spoke on the issue of crime, and she said she is confident that law enforcement officials can arrest the worrying problem.
I ask us to recognize that we must have the difficult conversations why violence does not achieve anything, be it violence of language or violence that is literally physical, and in particular, how we can set ourselves the target of wanting to reduce the number of persons who fall and lose their lives at the hands of other persons in this nation. Don't say it is not possible. I have lived long enough to see New York City, which was regarded as one of the worst places to visit 3 decades ago, be able to change its path with respect to the records of violence within its community. And I stand here today to say to you that I believe that from St. Lucie to St. Philip, from St. John to St. James, and everything else in and about and around that, that we can literally achieve the effort of wanting to remove the spectacle of gun violence and deaths from our community, because this is not who we are, and this must never be who we are.
Opposition leader Bishop Joseph Atherley has called for more resolve to deal with the issue of crime, particularly gun-related crime. Atherley, who made the appeal during his Independence Day address, said crime constitutes a major threat to the country's national well-being.
Though this must not be made a matter that is politicized, it is within the context of the political process and policy formulation, of course, that economic, judicial, legal, community-related and family-oriented initiatives must be birthed and imbued with such efficacy that there is a concerted and cohesive national effort to wrestle this mushrooming problem to the ground.
He also urged Barbadians to reflect and to get back to the basics of caring for the elderly and developing strong families.
In this 54th independent year of our national development, there is too oft repeated evidence of systemic failure that allows too many of our elderly to fall through the cracks. We lament the incapacity of the state to adequately provide for this community where needed. We regret the equal incapacity of the church and other NGOs to address more robustly and consistently the problems attaching to this community. We abhor the persistent twin evils of abandonment by family members and the abuse of this group in various ways by those they trust or those upon whom they are of necessity dependent. A pause for thought suggests that the viability of the family unit is under threat. This threat emanates from the severe negative impact of a massive economic slide upon households. It emanates from a perceptible deterioration in the moral fabric of our country and in the rising tide of alternative lifestyles borrowed from foreign cultures. These threaten the moral life of our nation and imperil our value set as a people. We must be sustained in the view that the family is the foundational unit of our society. Anything which imperils the institution of the family, therefore, potentially undermines our communities and our nation.
And thank you very much to Barbados Today for that report on the independence celebrations in BIM. So you listen to Win FM's 90.9 in your dial. It's Voices, and of course we're talking about World AIDS Day. We brought you the message from Junior Minister Hazel Brandy Williams. Also heard from the World Health Organization PANCAP, and of course from United Nations as well. Then of course Barbados's independence anniversary yesterday. Another big topic seems to be the issue of vaccines, access to vaccines, how soon they will be available. You've heard, of course, that St. Kitts and Nevis is among the Caribbean countries that have made a deposit to be part of what the Premier of Nevis has described as a queue for when the vaccines become available to ensure that the St. Kitts and Nevis, of course, will have access. And of course, you've heard from health officials here as well of how those vaccines, early vaccines, will be distributed. They've outlined that those in need of the vaccine most and frontline workers will be the first to get those vaccines. We're also hearing as well of other efforts being made to have a distribution in the U.S. Very shortly.
Every day, your immune system is compromised. You use up vitamin C quickly and even faster with stress and cold.
Burst back into life with Halib Orange. Burst back into health with 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, as much as in 12 oranges. Each effervescent tablet is bursting with fresh fruit flavor. Sparkling orange, lemon and sugar-free blackcurrant, also suitable for diabetics. Health never tasted so good. Halib Orange, bursting with flavor, bursting with health.
gift for Dad's birthday? Click. Ooh, Janice's retirement party? Click. Ah, outfit for my girl's wedding? Click.
With TDC Airbox, you click, we ship. Register for your free US mailbox today and shop all your favorite stores online. Enjoy the convenience. Free consolidation up to £10. Competitive rates. Free package tracking account with live notifications. Free delivery and, of course, excellent customer service. Visit our website at tdcairbox.com and register today. For more information, visit our offices at the C.A. Paul Industrial Site in St. Kitts and Penny's Industrial Site in Nevis. Follow us on social media at TDC Airbox. TDC Airbox. You click, we ship. Terms and conditions apply.
Yes, indeed. You're tuned to Winter FM 90.9. I want to say a very good morning right now to Peter Wickham, who is in lovely Bridgetown, Barbados. Am I right? Are you in Bridgetown?
That's right. I'm in Bridgetown and happy to be home. First time in a good 2 months.
Well, it's good. It's good to hear your voice today, and I want to offer my congratulations to you and to Barbados. Another fantastic milestone, another independence anniversary, and I must let my listeners know that Mr. Wickham has been very kind to me. I just called him in the middle of what he's doing, and he's agreed to have a few words with us today. Mr. Peter Wickham of Cadre, of course, and who's a well-known post across the Caribbean. And of course, I want to get your expertise on Barbados at this particular juncture. What would you want to share with us who are not living in Barbados, but who, of course, have friends and family and relatives who are Bajans as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, this is an interesting milestone. As you said, we're on the 54th anniversary of independence, and it's actually the last one before we become a republic. And I think that is perhaps the point that's preoccupying people more, the fact that we become a republic. We're told before the 55th anniversary, so technically speaking, this is the last one we will be a constitutional republic. And I think that has more or less sucked a lot of the energy out of the conversation regarding what's going on this occasion. I mean, otherwise, it was a fairly normal independence celebration, much like yours in St. Kitts. We have the scaled-down version of the parade, which you could call a COVID parade, where you just had the military forces, but a lot of the additional forces didn't parade. But nonetheless, it was certainly a special occasion. Barbados is grappling with the COVID pandemic, as is the case with St. Kitts. We are also grappling with an increasing crime, which is something that you in St. Kitts and Nevis are familiar with. And we are hoping that in the same way that you were able to wrestle yours to the ground, that we can do the same thing.
Now, what about the messages, one from the Prime Minister and the other from the Governor General?
Mm-hmm. Well, the Prime Minister's message was... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. I interrupted you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that the Prime Minister's message was essentially one of solidarity. Interestingly enough, she made no mention of the fact that we were celebrating what would be our last independence before a republic. And she spoke nothing of the plans to become a republic. I think that was a bit of a surprise for many people. So that was her speech, but she spoke a lot about the pandemic. She spoke about the need to recognize national heroes. She spoke about the fact that there was an initiative to recognize the persons who were helpful in dealing with the COVID issue. So she spoke about that as well. The Governor General's message was essentially one of solidarity. It's a typical message the Governor General would give, generally congratulating Barbados and looking forward to brighter days. So I think that would more or less speak to what the two speeches, were about.
Now, how do you weigh in on this issue of the Nelson statue?
Mm-hmm.
For many years, we used to tease out.
I'm a supporter of Nelson moving.
Oh, you support it?
Yeah, I'm a supporter of Nelson moving. I've always felt that he was something. He has no real relevance to Barbados, and I think that's the key thing. When you are in a situation where you are maintaining a statue because of his relevance to something that you no longer were, which is fundamentally a constitutional empire, my sense is that, we needed to move away from that. So that's where we are with Nelson. The decision to remove him was always controversial. There are a number of older people in Barbados who felt that he should perhaps have remained because he was there before. But my view was always that, you put a statue up for someone that means something to you. So in the same way that, in St. Kitts, you would probably have a statue of Kennedy or Bradshaw. I think it's the same kind of thing in Barbados. And, while it was controversial, I think that I'm happy that the decision was taken. He's now in the museum, and anyone who wants to view him can view him there. There are other things in the museum which we're not proud of, like the Cat o' Nine Tails. So it's a place that you put those types of historic artifacts.
And, of course, Sir Wes Hall getting a statue.
Yeah. I mean, that was a pleasant surprise for me because certainly I wasn't aware that it was something that was planned. So he now sits right next to the greatest all-rounder, which is Sir Garfield Sobers. And it's a splendid statue, Wes Hall in flight. Wes Hall was one of our more distinguished sons. He was a person who I am told used to bowl at 90 miles an hour, which is a frightening thought for anyone who had to face him, certainly. But Wes, in his prime, was, he was outstanding. So he's now taken his place next to Sir Garfield Sobers. He became a minister of government subsequently. He's now a minister of religion, actually. But, he has had several significant achievements in his time.
Yes, indeed, Reverend Wes Hall. I heard the Prime Minister reference the fact that Barbados offered some solace and some help to the cruise industry when many others were very shy about offering any sort of support.
Mm-hmm.
And she spoke about, the sort of efforts made in Barbados. What has been the reaction to that, really?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting response. I could argue that during the COVID period, people were very concerned about the fact that the cruise industry kept going. People felt that the cruise industry should have been shut down altogether, and that, like how many others denied them access, we should also have done the same thing. The Prime Minister made a point, that you have to have balance, and the balance is that Barbados is a home port. It is one of few in the Caribbean that provides home porting facilities, which means there are boats which would call Barbados their home. We benefited financially from it over the years significantly in that we had, thousands of tourists coming into Barbados to pick up ships and move on. And Prime Minister made the point that there is another side of it, which is obligation that it carries, that you have to be there for them in the times when others aren't. So when they were being turned away from ports that they would visit occasionally, Barbados said to them, that the home port facility means that you can come and you can dock. You can receive fuel and water. You can come to our port. We didn't let the tourists off, but certainly when it was time for them to repatriate the staff and repatriate the guests, they were able to do so through Barbados's facilities. Planes were provided from them, and they were able to use charter facilities to go back. The other side of it is that it benefited us financially tremendously because these are services that the cruise ship industry paid very dearly for. And, in the wake of it, there was the belief that Barbados stood, with some distinction among Caribbean nations in the fact that we were willing to take these chances. On the other side of it, those who are not involved in that industry did not like it because a lot of people felt that it was unwise to be bringing these potentially suspected cases into the country, even if it was for a brief period. But, the taxi drivers, the tour operators that were providing services to move people from the airport to the seaport, they were thrilled because they made money at a time when no one was making anything at all. So that was a significant development.
And just two more before I let you go. I know you have lots to do.
Sure.
We noticed that there was a comment made in the media from the president of the Press Association, if I call it that. That's not the right name for it, but I'm just summing up the organization, suggesting that the Prime Minister was trying to make the media more of a pet than perhaps as a watchdog. What do you make of that comment? Do you see any evidence to support his claims?
Yeah, this is Barjam. Barjam is the Barbados Association of Journalists and Media Practitioners. The background to the issue is the fact that there were several incidents in the hotel industry where hotel workers have been coming out on protests. And it's interesting because the government of Barbados took a decision that the standard unemployment benefit scheme, which ran for 52 weeks, was to be extended. The original position would be that you're on 52 weeks, and then at that point in time, you have to be severed because that is the legislation as it stood. Government went to Parliament hurriedly and passed legislation to extend the period of time, which would be equivalent to what the Americans call a furlough, where you could have an extended period of time where persons are essentially receiving something from national insurance, but they still have a job. The preference in some of the hotel sectors was that workers were saying, look, I've been laid off for 52 weeks, give me my money and let me go home. The government, however, has expressed the opinion that this was highly unwise because it would cripple a sector basically which is flat by COVID. The other part of it is that the national insurance responsibility was to pay for the furlough, the assistance that was offered in that period. However, it would become the responsibility of the hotels to terminate people and to give them the termination money, severance payment. The hotels industry said that, look, we haven't earned any revenue for 2020 period. In some instances since March, we have not had a single tourist. How are we going to be able to provide severance to all of these workers at one fell swoop? It would essentially shut down many of the hotels. They would put them into receivership, and nobody is helped by that situation. So that's really the background to the issue. So there have been industrial disputes in which people have been saying that, government has changed the legislation and it has affected their ability to get their money now. And then there have been others who have been complaining about the fact that the hotels are taking too long to pay. The Prime Minister essentially said to the journalists that in an environment like this, you need to cut us some slack because ultimately it's not a standard situation. It's one in which every effort is being made to ensure that Barbados can come out of this thing alive. And shutting down hotels, forcing people to pay unemployment severance benefits is not helping anyone. And I'm sure, Clive, you're from St. Kitts and Nevis. You understand the situation is one that is a problem. And you have few hotels in the island of Nevis. When you look at the situation in Barbados, where there are hundreds of hotels, you multiply that problem by hundreds of times, and therein lies the challenge. So her request was essentially to say to the media, look, cut us some slack here, give us the opportunity to put things in order, and appreciate the fact that we are making an effort. We have a social partnership with the hotel managers. They sat down with the leaders of the trade unions. They sat down with government. There's a tripartite body. And they said, this is the best way for us to go because it does not help to force people into paying severance and force people into receivership. And that's really what the Barjam has reacted to. Barjam has said that they're not interested in cutting anyone any slack, that they will report the news as they see it. If people are disgruntled, they will reflect the views of people being disgruntled, and that is that. I personally think that the position that Barjam has taken is highly selfish, frankly, because I understand that this is not a garden variety situation. It's not a situation where a member of the hotel staff broke a dish and was being fired for that reason. You're talking about thousands and thousands of people. And in many cases, the Hotel Association has given a bill of something close to $300 million that it would cost to sever all of the workers that are now entitled to severance. And it is unrealistic because they just do not have that money. And I don't really know that it helps coming out of this COVID to give someone $10,000, which is what the average payout would be, and say to them, you go home with no more work, and then you close down the hotel, and then you start processes to get that hotel sold to someone else through the receivership process. It's messy, it's unnecessary, and I think the Prime Minister was on good ground in saying, look, let's understand that we are in this together and cut us some slack. Emmanuel Joseph's position is, as the media, we have no interest in that. We will continue to press the cause. And my position is that that's also his right,
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. All right, now finally, Peter, because I want you to take my calls when I call you. I don't want to overstay my welcome.
Sure.
All right, my final question has to do with this is going to be a Christmas, unlike any in recent memory with COVID-19 realities, winter. The snowbirds will be coming. There'll be fear of the snowbirds this time around. What are one or two priority areas that you would identify right now facing Prime Minister Mia Mottley as Christmas approaches?
Yeah, to me, there's really only one priority. She's getting people back to work. I think that her main priority needs to be dealing with this hotel industry and trying to see how we can make 2021, how we can salvage something of a tourist industry. When I was talking earlier, I didn't even mention this Welcome Stamp initiative, which has been a fairly successful initiative in terms of getting people into Barbados on the stamp and, helping to give a bit of a life to the tourist industry. So we now have several long-stay tourists in Barbados. I don't think it's thousands, but it's certainly hundreds of long-stay tourists in Barbados that will be living or calling Barbados home for the next 6 to 8 months, and that has helped. These are the kinds of initiatives I think that her priority needs to build on in terms of getting these initiatives working and getting them working better. So if I were to say priorities, yeah, that's it. We moved Nelson, and we're supposed to talk shortly about becoming a republic. But I think that the fundamental priority now is making sure that people can eat, and that they can work. And I think that would be really where her major focus is lying right now.
Well, Peter Wickham, thank you so much. Of course, we want to wish you and your team all the very best for the season. And, of course, I may call you before the end of the year, but let me wish you all the very best anyway. Early enough for you, the first day of December. All right?
Okay.
So
thank
all
you,
the
Clive.
best.
Good chatting with you, and all the best to you and yours as well, and to my good friends in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Thank you very much, Peter. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
All right, that's Peter Wickham in Bridgetown, Barbados, talking to us about the independence celebrations and some of the issues that may be on the table. And, of course, Peter Wickham, of course, no stranger to us in St. Kitts and Nevis. He's been here many a year. He's a renowned pollster, cadre. He works across the region, political scientist as well. And we're very happy to hear his views on Voices today. 10 minutes now before midday.
Are you wondering what to do this holiday season? Will it be the same? Will you be able to give your family all that they need? Well, with TDC Financial Services, all your holiday woes will disappear. You can get up to $35,000 unsecured for your holiday needs. Give us a call at 465-6516 or 469-5430 to find out how we can help to make your holidays happier for you and your family. TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
And of course, all of our best to Rams and TDC this morning. It's a busy period now. I want to say good morning to all the workers. And of course, we know you guys are doing a decent job. I've been to both establishments recently. I had a very good experience. You tune to Win FM is 90.9 and your dial is Voices in the Morning Time, the first day of December 2020. And some people are saying, man, this year can't finish early enough. I don't share that opinion. Let's take it nice and slow, day by day. A very good morning. You're live on Voices.
Mr. Bacchus, good morning.
Oh, Mr. Montserrat, man. One of my favorite callers, man. I have a special award for you, man. I'm still working on it, though. I haven't finished it yet. All right? So you have to give me some more time.
Yeah, because me got a name for you, so me don't make you try to nice me up. I
prepare myself.
I'm not really call you the name,
I prepare myself.
Me go say that you play Mr. Bo Peep. You ever hear the term there?
Of course, man. Of course. But you you could call me. You could call me any name, man. I don't mind. I'm accustomed to these things, man. But tell me about Montserrat this morning.
Yeah.
What's going on in Montserrat? What is the weather like? What's going on with COVID? What's going on in Montserrat? Come fill us in. I've seen that you're on the phone now. I'm going to make you a reporter now, man. Come.
Let me tell you that. But see if you can identify yourself with this number you for me first.
Uh-huh.
And then we got something to send for you.
Okay.
469.
Mm-hmm.
What you got now? 469 9566.
9566. Okay.
You can identify yourself with a number there?
No, I can look it up for you though. I can check it out before when I
Okay,
come back.
no,
when I
okay,
come back
well,
this afternoon, I'll tell you.
No, give me a number that me can send something for you.
All right, my number is 662.
On WhatsApp number.
Yeah, 662
Just
98.
wait, no, that
I'm going too fast, huh?
662
9893.
662
9893.
Eight.
9893. 662 9893.
Okay.
Yeah.
9893.
9893. All right. So now
Okay,
I have
no
you.
problem.
I have you now as a special reporter for Montserrat. So I want a full
Yeah,
report.
make
So
it
what's
really quick,
happening?
Hussein.
Right.
Yeah, well, no cases,
No cases.
but no, we're not gonna cases.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Brilliant.
But yeah, brilliant, brilliant, you call it. You know, make things from one different view to you, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, but you know, at the same time, the rules them continue to pile up.
What kind of rules you talking
You know,
about? What kind of rules you talking about? You mean like wearing the mask and so?
The rules like what they call them? We don't know what something. But the
Yeah.
rules them like
Emergency
who
powers?
for come and who not for come.
Okay.
You know that kind of way there.
Mm-hmm. You have curfew?
Right.
You don't have any curfew.
Restriction.
You don't have any curfew though.
Huh?
You don't have any curfew. No curfew.
No curfew. But you know the borders still closed.
Okay. All right. Understand.
You know, we got a little kind of privilege because of, you know, we depend heavily from the British.
Okay.
So I not like the other countries now we have to open them borders to let in.
Yes.
You can agree?
Yes.
So so this one say the rules them, meaning that if you want to come, you have to write up and, you know, send to the minister, and the minister will give approval or not, whether you can come or not. And got different categories of people can come. Well, Montserratians themselves they can come, but the premier now asks for one stay for the Christmas by word of mouth. He asks even the Montserratians them that even overseas, especially in the hotspots and so, if them can just hang out with them before Christmas. You get me? That if I want Montserratians here for like one family affair instead of like visitors, even Italy, the Montserratians and them overseas now, like, you know, like visiting us. 'Cause, you know, when they come, then I come for stuff. So you say you want to like one, but you know, nice them up really, you know, like one family affair. That because them say that they don't really want no cases for the Christmas. Next year now there is probably whatever the case may be, but for the Christmas they want. I will not to go up and shut down again. The shut down them I run from.
So let me ask you this now. So if the premier say stay where you are, but you want to come home, you can still come home?
Yeah, but you know, you have to write up, and the minister for health still have to give one still have to say yes if you can come or not. He got the powers in his hand right now. The minister of health right now, like he got the power more than the premier.
Okay, I understand.
Next question. Yeah.
Yes. So the next question
You understand?
is yes. I follow that. So the moment you have no cases and you're asking everybody to stay away, you're creating a sort of a bubble in Montserrat. So those who are in the bubble are okay. So you don't really want anybody coming in that bubble and bring something to cause a problem. That's what it seems to me, like the premier is saying to me. But how about things on the ground? How are you guys making a living? How is business? How is the economy? What's happening?
Well, the economy in a dead, but what we try to do here? Now? Well, maybe I don't for a long time really. Try this self-sustenance. Feed yourself. You know, the feed yourself mentality. So, you know, the agriculture minister and so he give out different incentives and so that people can do their little backyard garden and, you know, whatnot, and so forth and so.
Okay.
But, right. But nothing too great, as we said, the borders closed, that's a one. And, you know, it depend more little heavy on construction and then kind of side. Well, people still a bill and so forth and so. But, you know, at the same time, you know, watch situation, eh? And when you know watch situation, you still look on your little bank account and see how much you can save the same way. You know, all that is bad for the economy too.
Yeah.
You know, anytime money now spin around the economy and money in the bank, yes. But, you know, if you freeze the economy, just as bad, you know?
Yeah.
So I will more upon self-sustenance more than watching the GDP and the economy.
All right. Well, I want to thank you very much for that. I got a break now to bring you the headline news, but I hope we can continue talking after we come back. I know you got some questions for me, so I'm looking forward to that. All right. So thanks for giving us that report for Montserrat. I appreciate that.
I'm to come back and talk about my partner Donald Trump. I'm
Good.
going to create some confusion this afternoon.
Well, come back at about 12:30. Let's have some confusion. All right. All right. See you later.
No problem.
Cool, man. Thanks for calling. All right. Cool. All right. That's Mr. Montserrat there giving us a iReporter report. Well, iReporter contribution for Win FM listeners, just so you can know what he thinks about what's happening in Montserrat. We want to thank you very much for that report. Stay tuned. Headline news comes your way now.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the Win FM Headline News. The Win FM Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, Carib Brewery, CNC Trading.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance.
Till you walk with a low
Reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
The theme for 2020 is Global Solidarity, Shared Responsibility. At this time, we recognize the significant achievements made in the fight against HIV and AIDS, to continue awareness activities, to galvanize communities into actions geared towards the prevention and control of this chronic infectious disease, to support those people who are living with HIV, and to pay homage to those who have passed over the years.
Junior Minister of Health in the Nevis Island Administration NIA, the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams, delivered an address to mark the occasion recognized annually on December 1st. The theme emphasizes our united response to the challenges in the prevention and control of HIV and AIDS and other infectious diseases such as COVID-19 can make the difference. Individuals and communities have a significant role to play in putting an end to HIV and AIDS.
A collective effort in addressing major issues such as stigma and discrimination and accessibility to services by vulnerable groups is required. An all-of-society approach can have far-reaching success, whereby the mantra, "Leave no one behind," will ensure that all who need care are able to access services without fear or reservation.
Junior Minister of Health in the Nevis Island Administration, the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams. Minister Brandy Williams said the NIA's HIV/AIDS unit within the Health Promotion Unit continues to do its part in offering counseling, free testing and treatment to the Nevisian public. She used the opportunity to commend the staff within the NIA's Ministry of Health for their continued work in the maintenance of the services being offered to all at-risk groups, pregnant clients, and the general population. In observance of World AIDS Day 2020, the HIV/AIDS unit carried out a number of activities at month-end November under the theme Lyme Responsibly. Each year on World AIDS Day, people around the world unite to show support for people living with and affected by HIV and to remember those who lost their lives to AIDS. In 2020, the world's attention has been focused on the COVID-19 pandemic, on health, and how pandemics affect lives and livelihoods. COVID-19 is showing once again how health is interlinked with other critical issues such as reducing inequality, human rights, gender equality, social protection, and economic growth.
A month after 19-year-old Nevisian Jezra Mulcair of Zion died due to a cerebral contusion, a bruising of the brain tissue, after he fell overboard while a vessel was about to moor in Basseterre. A basic safety marine training course offered instruction on basic first aid, fire prevention, proper use of life jackets, and what we need to do in the event of a disaster at sea. In a release from Sora Communications, Christopher Hensley and Muriel Knight encouraged all mariners in the Federation to ensure that they received their certification as well. Hensley, an accountant at Hobson Enterprises, participated in the training as a precaution.
The course was very informative and educational. We would have covered topics such as basic first aid, fire prevention, proper use of life jackets, and what you need to do in the event of a disaster at sea. I would like to encourage everyone that works on a vessel or works in any marine jobs to seriously consider taking these trainings.
Economics student at CFBC, Moriel Knight, took the training to prepare for his desired career path as a marine pilot.
These different aspects will all come together in the future as I hope to become a marine pilot, and I was elated when I was given the opportunity to attend this course. And I just want to encourage all small craft operators and mariners within the Federation's waters to go out and get certified and to go out and gain this knowledge so that when you are in an emergency situation, you will know what's best and what course of action will lead to your safety, because self-preservation should always be your top priority.
A total of 33 participants were involved in the training. 14 participants in St. Kitts took the 15-hour training from November 9th to 13th at the Police Training School. 19 participants in Nevis took the course from November 23rd to November 27th at the Nevis Disaster Management Building. The Basic Safety Marine Training course followed the internationally recognized standards of training, certification, and watchkeeping, the STCW model.
In regional news,
Liat officially took to the skies again on Monday, November 30th, after an 8-month hiatus caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and news of the airline's financial strain. In the original release, 7 countries were named in their flight operations, with St. Kitts Nevis being one. However, in a later report, the Island Federation was left out in the transit destinations. This report from ABS Antigua and Barbuda.
The airline will take to the sky 6 times daily for the next 2 weeks, transiting passengers among Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada and Barbados. The majority of Liat's passengers Monday boarded at St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as Barbados as they traveled to their respective Caribbean destinations.
The time, 8:55, and the iconic blue tail, Liat, the Caribbean airline, is once again soaring through the skies.
The airline's return, however, comes at a cost. Staffing has been significantly reduced. Liat now employs an estimated 167 people, 12 of which are pilots, a stark contrast to the nearly 700 people it employed previously.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Tuesday, December 1st, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Frontline workers will be honored for their work during the COVID-19 pandemic come January next year. Prime Minister Mia Mottley made the announcement in her address to the nation during yesterday's 54th Independence Day Parade and the National Awards ceremony at National Hero Square. She told those attending the event that government will table the necessary legislation to confer such honors and also amend the National Heroes Act.
Our Parliament will have laid before it a special piece of legislation for the conferment of the Barbados Humanitarian Medal for all of our frontline workers in this country, regardless of where they fought. We also will amend the National Heroes Act in order to be able to ensure that we can confer more than one gold medal of achievement for extraordinary service in causes that literally have protected this country over the course of the previous year. When we passed that legislation, it was always contemplated that it would be conferred on one. But we must now recognize that this truly has taken a village not simply to build the nation, but to also protect the nation. And I look forward to a date in early January when we shall bring from the doctors, the nurses, the lab assistants, the lab technologists, the supermarket workers, the port officers, the customs, the immigration, the list too long to mention, but which we all know that have allowed all of us now to stand before this country today, comfortable that our future is still secure against the background of those who stood and protected us in this a moment of one of our gravest challenges since becoming an independent nation.
Prime Minister Motley also assured those who have been affected by job losses and have not been paid their severance that they will receive their money from the National Insurance Scheme. She, however, made it clear that government will recover those funds from employers.
I ask those who believe that they are threatened or that they are compromised to recognize that this government will not leave you alone, will not leave you without voice, and will not leave you without seeing you. And even if it means that we must stand in the breach through the provision of severance to those who have been left out by their employers, rest assured we shall do so without blinking an eye, but we shall equally, without blinking an eye, recover the funds of the National Insurance Scheme from those who have failed to pay the 75% of the severance due to each and every worker. And why? Because this is who we are. We do not leave people standing on the side of the road.
The Prime Minister also spoke on the issue of crime, and she said she is confident that law enforcement officials can arrest the worrying problem.
I ask us to recognize that we must have the difficult conversations why violence does not achieve anything, be it violence of language or violence that is literally physical, and in particular, how we can set ourselves the target of wanting to reduce the number of persons who fall and lose their lives at the hands of other persons in this nation. Don't say it is not possible. I have lived long enough to see New York City, which was regarded as one of the worst places to visit 3 decades ago, be able to change its path with respect to the records of violence within its community. And I stand here today to say to you that I believe that from St. Lucie to St. Philip, from St. John to St. James, and everything else in and about and around that, that we can literally achieve the effort of wanting to remove the spectacle of gun violence and deaths from our community, because this is not who we are, and this must never be who we are.
Opposition leader Bishop Joseph Atherley has called for more resolve to deal with the issue of crime, particularly gun-related crime. Atherley, who made the appeal during his Independence Day address, said crime constitutes a major threat to the country's national well-being.
Though this must not be made a matter that is politicized, it is within the context of the political process and policy formulation, of course, that economic, judicial, legal, community-related and family-oriented initiatives must be birthed and imbued with such efficacy that there is a concerted and cohesive national effort to wrestle this mushrooming problem to the ground.
He also urged Barbadians to reflect and to get back to the basics of caring for the elderly and developing strong families.
In this 54th independent year of our national development, there is too oft repeated evidence of systemic failure that allows too many of our elderly to fall through the cracks. We lament the incapacity of the state to adequately provide for this community where needed. We regret the equal incapacity of the church and other NGOs to address more robustly and consistently the problems attaching to this community. We abhor the persistent twin evils of abandonment by family members and the abuse of this group in various ways by those they trust or those upon whom they are of necessity dependent. A pause for thought suggests that the viability of the family unit is under threat. This threat emanates from the severe negative impact of a massive economic slide upon households. It emanates from a perceptible deterioration in the moral fabric of our country and in the rising tide of alternative lifestyles borrowed from foreign cultures. These threaten the moral life of our nation and imperil our value set as a people. We must be sustained in the view that the family is the foundational unit of our society. Anything which imperils the institution of the family, therefore, potentially undermines our communities and our nation.
We now bring you this international report.
Behind the barbed wire and the grille-covered windows are people spending perhaps their last few hours in a country they call home. Barring a last-minute change of heart from the UK government, on Wednesday they'll be deported to Jamaica. From inside Colnbrook Immigration Removal Centre, one of the detainees spoke to me on the phone. He wants to stay anonymous.
This is really messing with my mental health at the minute, and I'm very depressed and everything at the minute.
18 years ago, he fled gang violence in Jamaica for the UK.
My family life is right here. I got 3 daughters under the age of 30.
He says there's nothing left for him in Jamaica, that he's being punished twice for a crime he committed years ago in the UK.
I made a mistake in my life. I tried to make amends for it. I've done my time inside. So I think everyone deserves a second chance in life, you know what I mean?
The UK government disagrees. By law, a foreign national who's been in prison for 12 months or more can be eligible for deportation. The Home Office says we make no apology for seeking to remove dangerous foreign criminals to keep the public safe. The people being detained for this flight include convicted murderers and rapists. The UK only ever returns those who the Home Office and, where applicable, the courts are satisfied do not need our protection and have no legal basis to remain in the UK. Colnbrook has been criticised by the Prisons Inspectorate as largely indistinguishable from a prison. It's just on the outskirts of Heathrow Airport, so that when the last appeals of the detainees fail, they can be taken straight away, put on a plane and flown out. Campaigners and activists have urged the government to cancel mass deportations, saying they're a product of racist immigration laws. 82 black British public figures, including model Naomi Campbell and actress Tandy Newton, are asking airlines not to assist with flights. Some compare this flight to the Windrush scandal, where hundreds of Commonwealth citizens invited to settle in the UK after World War II were wrongfully deported back after decades of living here. It was a direct result of the UK government's 2012 decision to create a hostile environment for undocumented migrants. I spoke to the director of a charity that helps people facing deportation about her concerns.
Deportation is knee-jerk, it's blunt, it applies to any non-citizen that gets a custodial sentence of 12 months or over, including people that may have been born in the UK but don't have citizenship, including people that came to the UK as young children, and including people that have lived in the UK for a really long time and have children and all of their family life established here. So it's really problematic. It leads to real injustice in practice, and it needs fundamental reform.
If such reform comes, it'll be too late to help those already thrown out of the country. Rory Challens, Al Jazeera, London.
Driven by hunger, refugees queue for lunch at the Kuba camp. The food is prepared and served by relief groups with the help of refugees, but the choices are limited.
These people have been living on lentil soup with a portion of sorghum porridge for 20 days. This type of food doesn't necessarily suit everyone.
We have only this type of food that you see here. I had it for 14 days. Now people are throwing it away. They don't want it anymore.
The World Food Programme is the main provider of aid relief in the camps. It says every registered refugee gets enough to eat.
This is the main food store of the WFP program inside the camp. They say what is available here is enough to feed 8,000 people for an entire month, and more is coming soon. So according to them, there is no shortage of food in the camp.
Rations include red sorghum, lentils, cooking oil, salt, and food supplements for newborns and nursing mothers.
This is early days. Hopefully we'll get all of these people off the porridge as quickly as possible. The key is we get them registered, and then as soon as that's the case, then we will be giving them monthly rations. They'll be able to manage it themselves.
75-year-old Tariki barely starts eating when he abandons his meal. But a few in the camp are being creative. This woman was a government accountant in Jumeirah. She's 6 months pregnant. She has boycotted the porridge and started a little food business of her own.
We never ate this type of food back home. We simply don't know it. We can't eat it. Since I had a little bit of cash, I bought some wheat flour to make bread and soup that suits my taste.
Let Abraham makes bread and soup for her family and sells what's left over, using the money to buy more supplies. supplying a demand for food people here want to eat, while aid groups do what they can to manage a humanitarian crisis. Mohammed Val, Al Jazeera, the Kuba camp for Ethiopian refugees in Sudan.
Around the world, more people are suffering hardship than ever before. Every year, it seems, when the UN announces the money it needs to deal with humanitarian emergencies across the globe, the figures get bigger and bigger. The UN estimates that because of COVID-19, 235 million people will need humanitarian assistance, an increase of 40% over the figure last year. It's appealing for $35 billion to meet the need.
It's the darkest and bleakest I've ever seen in more than 35 years of doing this kind of work. And what's happened is we've had the accumulation over many years of conflict problems and climate change problems. And now on top of that, we've got the, if you like, the triple whammy of COVID. Because of COVID, we've got a 40% increase, the biggest increase we've ever had in the number of people who might not survive next year without help and assistance, to 235 million people.
Yemen is still the worst humanitarian emergency in the world. The UN has identified 56 countries that most need assistance. What's worrying them is that many of those have a deteriorating situation, and there are new places being added to the list this year: Ethiopia, Nagorno-Karabakh and Mozambique. James Bays, Al Jazeera of the United Nations.
That was the Win FM Headline News, brought to you by KDP Enterprises, Caribbean Alliance, Carrie Brewery, CNC Trading, The Grange.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Dealing well with a local reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Well, hi there, very good afternoon to you. Time to welcome you now to the second segment of Voices for today, the first day of December in the year of our Lord 2020. It's now 12:30 in the afternoon, and this segment of the program comes to you compliments SL Horsford and Company Limited.
Paint it, tile it, improve it. Your walls, paint it. Your floors, tile it. Your home, improve it. It's huge savings at the Horsford's Building Center. Paint it, tile it, improve it. Sales event happening now. Yes. Come to Horsford's Building Center now and get savings of 25% off all paint and up to 75% off all tiles. Yes. Nothing's are gonna keep at Horsford's with up to 75% off piles of tiles in all styles and 25% off all paint. Come now and get a chance to win $500 shopping spree at Value Mart with the purchase of 5 gallons of paint or more. That's right. Buy 5 gallons or more of paint and you get a chance to win $500 in free groceries. Starting now until December 31st, 2020. It's your home. So paint it, tile it, improve it. At Horsford's Building and Nevis Centers year-end Paint it, tile it, improve it sale. Come now. Save big and simply paint it, tile it, and improve it. The event starts now and ends December 31st, 2020. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details. It's official! Friday, December 18th and Saturday, December 19th are VAT days. But you can come today and get pre-approved credit for VAT Day. Save some of the hassle of this VAT Day and drop by some of your local Horsford's department stores today. Yes! Come to any Horsford's department today and get pre-approved credit for December 18th and December 19th. No down payment necessary. That's right, zero money down. And no payment until February 2021. That's right, no payment until February 2021. Come to Horsford's today, where we will be dropping major discounts plus pre-approved credit when you shop now. How, you ask? Well, it's simple. All you have to do is visit any of the Horsford's departments, including furniture and appliances, Ashley Furniture Home Store, Building and Nevis Centers, and the Automotive Division. Make your VAT Day wish list, and we'll do the credit check. Come back on VAT Day and get all that you picked with your pre-approved credit and be on your way to a merrier Christmas. Whether it's new furniture, a new stove, or a brand new car, Horsford's is giving you pre-approved credit today. Be on your way to a merrier Christmas. Pre-approved credit today for VAT Days December 18th and December 19th at Horsford's. Visit stores for all details.
You to the Win FM is 90.9. Let's go to the phone lines and hear from our first caller for the afternoon. Call you live and on the air. Thanks for calling.
Afternoon, Mr. Backus.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you. How are you doing today?
I haven't heard you in quite a while.
Oh, don't worry, man. I'm still somewhere around, and we have, you know how it is, always around, like third world band.
In managerial position, you juggle, so to speak.
If you say so. So what's happening, man?
I'm giving thanks. It's a gorgeous day. We have to give thanks for life, so we have to be grateful.
All right. I'm glad to hear that, man. Well, today is World AIDS Day. You have any thoughts on that?
I was not aware of because don't really have certain privy to in terms of my calendar because keeping with the calendar and the different.
Well, let me put you. Let me put you on notice that tomorrow is your big day. Do you know why tomorrow is your big day?
Tomorrow would be the second of this.
You don't know why tomorrow is your big day, my friend?
No, just refreshing my memory. I'm not so young anymore.
Hold on, I have a gentleman with me here. His name is Kevin Brown. Let's ask Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, tomorrow has a specific title. Can you share with our listeners what tomorrow is?
Tomorrow is the International Day in recognition of the abolition of slavery.
You heard that?
Wow.
You heard that, sir?
Mr. Backus. How could a person of my, stature, so to speak, such things would be evading me. But be that as it may, it happens. And
well, you have one day to
so
prepare.
that you have someone there on the program that would keep it alive. And, we're not in this thing. We're not in a vacuum all by ourselves.
Well, the reason why I told you is that tomorrow you're going to have an opportunity. So you can prepare what you'd like to present tomorrow. And tomorrow when you call the program, I'm going to give you some time to have your say. So I'm giving you notice.
Thank you very much, Mr. Backus. It's always rife because it's always an issue that we can always discuss. Just like let it flow. Like, we grew up in cricket. Once the ball leaves the bat, we know it's 4 runs. Yeah, let's let it flow. That's how, I go about, Yeah, because these things are always there to us.
So what's in your mind? So what's in your mind? What is on your mind today? I know I throw all those things at you, but you called for a reason.
I tuned in on the program when you had a conversation with, if my memory serves me right, I recall the voice. It sounds like the voice of Sir Hilary Becker of Barbados.
You mean on the program this morning?
Yeah.
No, sorry. That was Peter Wickham.
Oh, it's Peter Wickham?
Yes.
Oh, Peter Wickham. Okay, good. Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, what caught my attention is when he spoke up and he said he was in support of the removal of the Nelson statue from Barbados. It has been relocated to the museum. But he was in support of it. Unlike St. Kitts and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean who were colonized by the British, it's just 16 in Antigua also. I cannot recall anything of the Nelson on St. Kitts per se, but there are still British relics that still taunt us in terms of the non-contribution, Mr. Backus, and the irrelevance of why would we have something as like a constant reminder to who? These relics are to be in the British domain, so to speak, not the former British colony if we are quote-unquote independent. And so he did talk about prominent gentlemen within the British fraternity who would be rightfully given their honors, and I applaud that. I recall that our cricket facility here is called the Warner Park, and there has been much agitation for such renaming of certain areas, certain places, and so to speak, of really honoring our own. Persons who has made tangible contribution to who we are as a proud people, And I'm all for that. So I was related to her to hear it from such an extreme gentleman, and I'm all for that. One would have thought that Barbados, it would have been far from anyone's imagination that Barbados would have taken such steps by leaps and bounds. Considering who Barbados was branded to be, the little England of the Caribbean and the like, but they are playing a lead role for the rest of the Eastern Caribbean to emulate and to really say, wow, it's about time that we move beyond. We move beyond these colonial relics and we really do our people proud, our forebearers proud by renaming, elevating or defining, so to speak, in terms of our spiritual content, our people. And so that's just my contribution for today. But I will make some preparations for tomorrow, God willing.
Yes, man. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for calling, all right?
You're welcome, sir.
Good, man. Have a good day. All right. Well, thanks to a caller. He made some comments on what Peter Wickham said. Of course, in the first half of the program, we spoke about the removal of the Nelson statue. Had a pride of place in Bridgetown. It's now relegated to the museum. And in the words of the Prime Minister, which I'm paraphrasing, Mia Mottley, she said, well, Barbadians are, using my language, quite civilized. They did not relegate the statue to the Atlantic or the Caribbean Sea. It was put in a museum, as decent people would operate. Others may have thrown it overboard. It doesn't matter. Let's go back to the phone lines and hear from our next caller this afternoon. Call your live and on the air. Good afternoon to you.
Hey, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yes, the topic, the age topic.
Yes, sir.
Let's give God thanks that it might still be here, but it's somewhat under control. It could have been worse, but like everything, it has its time. And I only hope that it continues to just fade out. Now, you were talking about tomorrow, what tomorrow is. I hope that some of the things that we've said is that it will not happen again in our area. Because I'm sure you're aware it's happening a lot of places in the world, and some places that we would think it shouldn't happen still. So I only hope that it will open our eyes to realize we should never try to get persons into that situation, and we should never let ourselves get back into it. Because there's a difference between knowing about it and trying to live it. And sometimes lessons from the past is not really learned properly. I don't know if you realize that, right?
Oh, yes, you're still learning all the time, And we tend to be forgetful.
Sometimes that things come back in different ways. We might be more educated. But when you look at it, it still happens. This is where I'm coming from, because we haven't learned from it. Well, persons haven't learned from it. I learned from it. Hearing about it, reading about it. But the thing I would like persons to understand when they're talking about it tomorrow, though, none of us born that way. We're born free people. And we should always try to maintain we are free and free and free, and that will never happen to us and our descendants coming after. Because sometimes persons speak as if it is still, and sometimes the tongue will have what you say come about, and we have to be careful. So with that, and with the topic for today, let us be positive, and let us talk about what would never happen again. Control, self-control is what happened. However, for the thing tomorrow, all it has to do is power and wealth. If you look at the countries that still do it, I show some countries, even what some persons wouldn't want to hear, persons who are poor, they fall victim of that. And that is why I said we have to be careful it do not happen in our society, because it has nothing to do with what some people think about, but it has to do with wealth and power. And if we don't be careful, some persons in our society here, you may not be persons I'm saying to the neighbors, But persons who come from elsewhere and they are working are subjected to something similar and we turn a blind eye to it. I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from because it has to do with wealth and power. Persons who believe they are wealthier and more powerful than you, or them you see something. And the Bible speaks to that. The person who borrows is what to the lender. You ever heard that before?
Yes, I have.
Right, so you see where I'm coming from?
Yes.
Has to do with wealth and power. Why persons fall into that what we're going to talk about tomorrow. We were born free. We have an opportunity to make our countries wealthy and rich and make everybody who lives here the same. And if we really learn from the past, we will try not to let ourselves do anyone that and to let anyone come from anywhere and try to do that to us. Because we never face it. We could speak of history, but we never experience it. And I don't think anybody here would want to experience it. Have a blessed one.
Yes, my brother. Thank you so much for calling. You have a blessed one as well. You're listening to Win FM. It's 90.9. Our numbers are 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. We are at www.winmediaskn.com, and our numbers are there as well. So today, International World AIDS Day, and looking at ways to have access to people who may not be doing very well financially, but are in need of help. Some recommendations made by the World Health Organization to reduce stigma and improve access, and to look at ways that some lessons from COVID-19 perhaps as to how we need to have perhaps an innovative approach to the delivery of health services, especially to those who are marginalized. Let's go back to the phone lines. Call you on the air. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, caller.
Marcus, good afternoon.
Mr. Montserrat. Yes. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Anything reached by you yet?
No, I didn't see anything. You sent something?
Yeah, upon the WhatsApp. The number that you give me.
You sent it by Liat?
Me send it by what do you think now? Zoom?
Send it back again, man. Send it back. Send it back. I'm gonna look for it. Send it back again. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up for you. All right?
Okay, no problem. Let me. I'm in the customer send on face, so let me call for confirm if you send them on that.
All right, good. No problem.
Okay?
Yeah, man.
Okay,
yeah.
I may come back.
Yes, of course. All right, thank you very much. Oh, the last caller, before this caller, spoke about slavery. Tomorrow's abolition of the Atlantic slave trade, which was chattel slavery over 400 years, and where a human being was made into was chattel slavery, essentially, where the humanity of the enslaved was denied, and people were treated as livestock, where you'd have a cow or a goat or sheep, which you farm for profit, and the offsprings were considered to be products for profit-making. But slavery continues. Modern-day slavery exists, especially in the context of people who are trafficked. Sorry, I do apologize for that. Lots of issues with immigration, where people's passports are being held by some others, and who are put to do all manner of things, sex workers and all a number of things. So some of the discussions, of course, speak about modern-day slavery, but issues revolve around basic access issues, access to human rights, access to justice, access to a number of issues. So ongoing discussions, what are the lessons of the past, what are the present realities, and what are you going to do about those issues? Because it's up to you in the end. Let's go back to the phone lines. Call you on the air. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Miss Henry. Long time no see.
I thought you're done with me.
No, man. That can't happen.
No, I won't stand for it.
That can't happen, no.
Good afternoon to my family in Montserrat. You say go to live in peace and harmony. Good afternoon, Mr. Riley. I want you to look up somebody for me. Mrs. Brown, who used to own a jewelry store in Plymouth. After the eruption, They came to St. Kitts, and her husband used to live with my mother-in-law, Mrs. Attil. You know, and the old man used to say, I want to go back. Well, Cain up there blowing up, you know. In the end, they were forced to carry him back, you know. I think he wanted to go home, and if he can die, die in his own country. That's what you call a loyal, monstrous, loving man. So if you know Mrs. Brown, tell her Mrs. Attil, daughter-in-law, say hello. Now let me get to the issue of HIV and AIDS and Barbados independence. Now, I want to check correct. It usually gives us information we don't get here in terms of the number of new cases, the number of deaths, and the number of persons infected. Do you have that?
Not at the moment.
Yeah, but I want to check it out. I don't know if Carrick got absorbed in CARFA. It might be. Because that is where all the countries used to report their information. Because sometimes, because we don't hear the numbers of person dying, and of course, nobody in St. Kitts die of AIDS unless you see it on the website. We continue. And what we have is a normalizing of prostitution and homosexuality. It is now normalized, not legal, but normalized. And to my dismay, I hear of cases where teenagers, school-age children lining up to be served at brothels. And, because, you know, they have to do, what you call it, this social distancing and so. So the line is outside of the establishments. And we are busy preaching HIV and AIDS. But our lifestyle has not changed. You can't catch AIDS, you know. It isn't something you can put on your mask for it. Condoms are free at the health center. They're easily obtained at the pharmacies. So why are we still spreading the disease? Why are we still spreading the disease? And, you know, the most hurtful thing, if you notice, when you go, I don't know if it is there, but the demographics for the infected person changing now, where older females are now being infected. And we need to take this thing seriously. And now some people don't like the Bible, but they better take a peep in that book, in the book of Proverbs. It says that the way to hell is at the gate of the prostitute. It says some don't know that the gates of hell can actually mean you're going to die, you know, one way or another. And he says, all those who hurry to go there are not wise, they're fools. He said, the simple run to the house of the prostitute. And it's pitiful when you go and pick it up and take it home, or take it to your girlfriend, or take it to somebody, or even take it to another prostitute. And of course now homosexuality is the norm. They have their human rights. So we have a lot of men around here, bisexual men. They have convinced themselves that they're not homosexual, bisexual men. Men having sex with men who turn around and have sex with females. And we have to get this thing serious because it's pitiful. I mean, I have known of persons who have died of AIDS. Not people who are promiscuous, you know, they might have done something once or so, because just like corona, you don't have to go 100 times to get HIV.
Well, you know, Ms. Henry, you're talking about a very serious issue?
Delicate.
And delicate at the same time, because back in the 90s when the effort was made to get more people to test, people were not testing because they didn't know what to do after they got the results. And then eventually, as information became more available, drugs became more available, more people started to test. And I think that's when we started to get a reduction in the number of infections.
Good at the testing, eh?
But don't forget that every year, just about 2 million people are infected globally with HIV.
Yeah, but we're talking about here.
Million. Well,
over there, 2 million. It's just like how you got something million people with corona.
Well,
your
I'm
main
sure,
concern becomes your immediate location.
Yeah, but I'm sure in the context of St. Kitts, there are numbers. But I didn't get my hand in the numbers. I tried.
I want you to check it.
But I will try. I called and so, but I couldn't get anyone to give me the numbers.
You try on the thing. They don't report it on Carrick. I used to see it on Carrick website.
I will check on Carrick just when I come off to see what's going on. You could have the young man there do a search. Yeah, you're right. So
Carrick or Carper, because I know a lot of things are now converging Carper. So if you could check it there. Because a lot of us young people think it's a joke.
Well, the issue...
and it's pitiful.
The issue is
and
that...
I am glad that the provider, the testing is done on a regular basis in St. Kitts. Give them credit, and free.
Well, a lot of progress has been made across the region. Remember the bill was it Bill Clinton Foundation? Way back when?
I remember that. When
St. Kitts was a part of that as well?
His organization provided some of the funding and some of the drugs.
Yes. And St. Kitts played a role in that as well, because St. Kitts had the lead on health at CARICOM.
Right, we still do,
Mm-hmm. You still have that as well. That's true.
Yeah, it gone from Dr. Douglas to Dr. Timothy Harris.
Yes. So, but the issue seems to be one of stigma in terms of people being stigmatized because they're become infected. But as you said earlier,
you would know he's infected anyway.
Very often, people become infected without even realizing that they're.
That's what I'm saying. That is why I'm saying we must take this thing serious because, for example, you went somewhere and somebody gave you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You did not go for it. And you take it home to your innocent wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then she might be the one who gets checked first.
Yeah.
She go to do a blood test.
Yes.
Routine. I do routine checks.
Mm-hmm.
And they will tell you have this in your blood, and you know what I mean?
Well,
you can imagine how you would feel, and even men who are faithful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go to tests and discover that the HIV positive. You know how devastated it could be? I mean, we must take this thing seriously. It's not a private affair. Just like our corona is not a private thing. We must always bear each other in mind when we are engaging in sex. Because nobody wants to hear what the Bible says. Everybody wants to have lasciviousness. That's a nice word.
I haven't heard that word for a long time.
Lasciviousness and promiscuity. Let me get to Barbados.
Right.
Now, I want to commend the government of Barbados on their what number they have? 61.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
54?
I'll check it.
Anyway, somewhere there. I admire Barbadians in a certain way, and certain way I don't understand them, be honest. I have a stake in Barbados because one of my daughter lives there. Now, I have been to Barbados numerous times in my professional life, attending workshops there. In my family life, visiting my daughter, in terms of health, seeking medical attention in Barbados. So I've been to Barbados numerous times. And one thing I must say, they are a very proud people about being Barbadians. There was this grandmother who said, Barbados is the best place in the world. You couldn't get her to say nothing different, you know. This lady was convinced that Barbados was the best, and she kept saying it. And they have a lot to be proud of, even in terms of democracy, you know. As they have to remind Americans that before you all had parliament, and so we had.
Well, I can offer you the information you asked about. Kevin Brown, who's with me on the program, looked it up. Barbados has a population of about 287,000 people. They have 276 cases with 7 deaths in terms of COVID-19.
Yeah, you know. Well, some came in and whatnot. You know, but what I'm talking about is their anniversary and their mindset, which is something I want Kittitians to get. They don't call on their country, you know. they act as if they go on like Trump. You know, Trump will say America first, Barbados first. And they have a lot to be proud of. I mean, their literacy rate, we don't talk about 98%, but we don't read. Barbados produces newspapers, nothing thick so.
You have to remember, but to be fair, you have to remember, I'm not saying you're being unfair, I shouldn't have said that. Let me put it a different way. Barbados had a universal education from nursery to university, free of charge. Since you're small, you go all the way up to university, and that made a difference.
Yes, but I'm talking about the older people who would not have gone to university.
Yeah, but even then, they had a system where governments would change and the Barbados civil service would not change. You have the same civil service, whether the government come or go, so they had some stability. And as you said, it's a lot of pride, a lot of pride in their identity.
The institutions are strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this has been going on for quite some time.
Sometimes a little too strong, because, for example,
And governments don't stay in power forever in Barbados either. So if you get 2 terms, you're lucky. That's it.
Look at it. Here, our children take a lot of things for granted. They go to high school just so. In Barbados, you got to work your way to get to one of what they call the better schools or the best schools. It's not easy. You got to score 90 and over to go assigned to a high school, one of the best ones. They grade them. So by the time you're 10 years, if you're top, middle, or bottom, our children don't got to struggle. They don't have no 10 plus. But they have pride. They take pride in their surroundings. The last place my daughter lived, a place called Carbon Road in St. Peter's. I saw people, the residents, fixing the road, fixing the government road, the road that leads from the main road into the village. The men in the village got together. They bought the aggregate, the asphalt aggregating, and they did the road themselves. One of them owned heavy equipment. Their place was always well kept. They go and they cut. When they cut in the hedges and so, they're cleaning up the whole area. I said, boy, it's just a boy. Saying it would have less problems if we had such a community spirit. And it wasn't only just there. They take pride in their surroundings, something I wish we would emulate, and their spirit. Now the youth's getting out of hand. And you see how distraught they feel about it? We had come to a place where we had accepted it, which is sad. And I must commend all those who work with their youths to get them to see that was not the way. So I wish them all the best, and I wish my country the best. And I want our people to learn to cooperate. I mean, I don't know how often. Have you been in the country part of Barbados, Mr. Bacchus?
Yes, man. I have Bajan family, man.
A Bajan family?
Yes, man. Yes.
Yeah, St. Peter's, right? St. Peter, St. Lucie.
I have my friend,
I call them their country.
I have my friends.
Offended.
Oh, man. Barbados is a beautiful place. Beautiful place.
Beautiful. And you could have sent to what I'm saying. The pride that they take, because you see, their motto is pride and productivity. Maybe we want some of that, some pride and country above self. I mean, serious. And they have had, they love the government. When they're in, you can't get them out. I don't know when the other one can get back in. But I wish them all the best, because their success and prosperity affects my relative, my daughter, and the future for my granddaughter. And I want our country St. Kitts. St. Kitts about a lot going for it, but we don't seem to appreciate it. When you go abroad, you'll see what you have. When we don't learn until we go away, When we go abroad, they come back and say, boy, St. Kitts really nice, But there are lots of avenues in which we need to bring up our side. The business sector, we need to bring it up. We need more diversification. Our young people, they need to be a little more aggressive in terms of entrepreneurship. We have trained so many of them, and we are there. I want to commend all those who are doing something. You know? Do something. Now, you said tomorrow is what? Because you have me a bit confused. Tomorrow is what?
Abolition?
End of the British Atlantic slave trade, because it continued after 1807.
Hold on for Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, tomorrow is?
Tomorrow is what?
Tomorrow is the International Day in recognition of the abolition of slavery. However, they're focusing on certain topics, not just the abolition of the slave trade, but modern day slavery, as in child labor, human trafficking, that still goes on today.
Tomorrow is mark the end of it?
No, it's the recognition of the abolition of slavery.
Oh, because I know even when our people down here were free, 1834, 1838, there was slavery in America, in North America, and in the Virgin Islands and so. So I was asking you what, and don't talk about Africa. You know they have slavery still in Libya. When the Africans go across trying to get to Europe, and they land in Libya, the Muslims selling them in public market. Slavery in Sudan. Some Rastas don't like to hear, but there was slavery in Ethiopia until 1936. You know, so slavery, maybe we need to tell them that it has been abolished. Then we now have sexual slavery under the name of human trafficking. You could only traffic what is not persons. I mean, I am sure even the man got the statistics, so I better say I assume, because I believe in facts and stats, that trafficking goes on in St. Kitts. Human trafficking goes on in St. Kitts. I mean, I live in Newtown, and I don't know if our law enforcement understand the meaning. Because they know. They can't say they don't know. Sometimes you should see the young women, look at they just leave high school also. You see them by the brothels in Newtown. And then afterward you don't see them again. I mean, really? When they come to customs, if they do, don't you inquire why they're here and where they intend to stay and what? Nobody hide, nobody, prostitution or trafficking is not hidden anymore. It's not hidden anymore, and it's not just among one nationality. Even our women engage in it, and they are trafficked. You got a lot of pimp, you know. A lot of pimp in this country. So the slavery, we have to define it. Because our people, if the young man knows the history, even after they say we're free, we weren't free. I did some research on our migration, post-emancipation migration, and while I'm talking, I hope Tony Frederick listening. I lent Tony Frederick my book with the extracts I did from the public library and so on the topic. I would like to get it back. Give Mr. Backus for me. And then I'll collect it from the Tony and whoever down at the Historical Society. I'd like to get back my book. Mr. Backus, they passed all kind of laws, you know. They said we free, but we can't leave the country as we like. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
No,
I was so shocked when I learned it. For example, in St. Kitts, you had to prove that the people you leave back, you were going to leave here, that they were going to be maintained, that your taxes were paid, because they wanted to keep you on their estates, eh? The amount of obstacles are put in the way of the so-called free people after emancipation in St. Kitts. It was difficult to leave because, you know, the first thing after they said they're free, and Well, you can't go away and say they own from the mountain to the sea. They freed people, began to try to migrate. A lot went down to Trinidad. They used to go to Guyana. In case you don't know, I have all of these facts and stats in my book. They used to come from Guyana to recruit workers to go to go down. They came from the estates in Guyana and Trinidad to get people from here. And they went to the legislature and they even passed laws. I think in one case that even seized the boat. There's a lot of things, you know. So sometimes when people say freedom, you got to ask, freedom when? Freedom how? You know, so maybe we need to discuss it. Because it is more than just emancipation. And they say, you go. Jamaicans could run to the mountains, Guyanese could run to the bush. You know, in Suriname, they have a whole colony of black people.
Yes, of course.
Yes, my daughter was down in Suriname because her daughter lives down here. And she talked about, you know, she said they have their tradition intact. But they're still treated as if they're some kind of slaves, you know. They look upon as a curiosity. I think last election they got somebody elected for them, 1 or 2. So you ask, you have a developed country, but within the country are a set of people who still living as if they just come off the plantation. They're free. You know, so we really need to discuss what is freedom, what do we mean by the end of slavery. And are the slaves today, the economic slaves, the sex slaves, are they any worse off or better off than the plantation slavery we had down here? And who is advocating on their behalf? Who is advocating? Because you can't say you don't see. I don't mean you. We as Kittitian and Nibian, we can't say we don't see. Who advocates for them? The other day there was a young lady on radio station, a Miss Scott, she said she's a Jamaican, talking about the way people perceive migrant women and how they treat them. Are they free? Or when they come to our country, do they become slaves? All right then, Mr. Bacchus. So Mr.
Thank you very much.
Tell Mr. Mansell to say, please to do the homework I give him. Go ahead and look for Mrs.
Mr.
Brown,
Riley.
the jeweler, and tell her I say hello.
All right, thank you so much.
You can't follow it, you know.
No, man.
All of them who fall to me, they got to be back with me.
Absolutely.
Because you see, every time I tell you that that's better than the wrong horse, twice the bet, you know. Twice they put on the good hard-earned money on the horse and the horse lost. That is enough to stir up. Have a good day.
Well, I know Mr. Montreal can speak for himself, and he's going to call you. But a great aunt of mine is from St. Kitts, and I'm not exactly a young man. So we talked about many moons ago. One of my great uncles was married to a Kittitian woman, a lovely lady, I'm told. I never met her. So she was living in Ghana for many years. I'm not going to give her surname because I don't want people to say, well, oh, he's a this and he's a that based on his surname. I know sometimes you think it's depending on your surname, you know, you're branded. So I'm not going to tell you what the surname is. When I see it, I'll probably tell you. Anyway, tomorrow's observation, in case I misled you and created confusion, tomorrow is an International Day for the Abolition of Slavery, all right? And this day was established back in 1949. It's basically to put the focus, it's not by the United Nations, of course, the UN General Assembly. It was meant to put the focus on the suppression of trafficking in persons and exploitation of prostitution of others. But no discussion on slavery can avoid a discussion on the Atlantic slave trade. It's like trying to say you're discussing a topic, but the mother of all the issues to do with the topic is in the corner. You say, well, I'm not talking about that. They're all related. But Mr. Brown pulled up some information that said 40 million people are living in modern-day slavery, according to estimates from the International Labour Organization. So let's go back to the phone lines and hear from our caller. Caller, you're live and on the air. Thanks for calling. Good afternoon. All right, that caller couldn't wait a minute, man. I hope your phone still have some money, You could call me back again, Some people call me with a dollar on the phone and so on, Anything could happen when you call like that, So let's go back to the phone lines again. Caller, good afternoon. You're live and on the air.
Mr. Backus, good afternoon.
Yes.
I don't know when I ask you how this voice.
I think this voice, I hear in this voice some challenges, I think. There's challenges.
You're right. Miss Henry said something there about petitions going down to Guyana to work, and they had all kind of laws to prevent them from moving out freely. Well, you had your interest to protect that's the plantation owners. I remember they were given a 5-year apprenticeship, so that, and then they brought in people from India, India and Portugal in particular, but the island of Madeira. That's where my father grandparents, my mother's side, came from. But a lot of people left St. Kitts and Nevis and went to Dominican Republic and Cuba and even to Haiti. But what I could say about my father's first child was born in 1915, and he migrated with his mother and grandmother too. They were born right here in Challenges. These are not born right here in Challenges. But they migrated to Cuba, and none of them ever come back. We had a little contact with him, but, well, I can't even go into detail, but I lost them. And unfortunately, now that we got the computer age, we were trying to see if we could have found him, but without he would have been, because he would have been 105. But probably he had children. I'm still trying to see if we could find any of his offspring. We would like to know that. So, I know exactly where my father told me, the exact spot where he was born. But I said that to say all of that to say this. That was about he left as a child. So let's say between 1916 and whenever, he had Anguilla boats used to take people, undocumented people, from St. Kitts and Nevis to those places. Just walk with your clothes, your personal things, and just jump on the boat and you go. That's what I was told. Because I know people who went there and came back, and also some people who were born there and came back. So I always like to be in conversation, so I learn all that from them. But my brother, he used to correspond with my father, but we lost everything. I ain't going into details, but I was trying hard up to a few years ago. But a stupid bit of behavior from one of my siblings make me lose out. But I'm still trying. But, so you see, a lot of Anguillans went to Dominican Republic and Cuba also, but especially Dominican Republic. Because after Anguillans started to sell land and all of that, some of them had to go to Dominican Republic and bring back home the person, the executor for the land. A lot of them had to go there and bring them back to Anguilla so they could get the land situation straightened out. Those days, Anguilla land never had no value because, it's a drought place, and they used to plant a lot of pigeon peas and corn, and they used to produce a lot of salt. The salt used to go to Trinidad for the petroleum industry. So, but I don't think they do that with that amount of salt now, if at all. They had some boat like the Betsy, that was a schooner, and call a couple schooners, but didn't trade them. The War Spike and the Rose Millicent. These are three large schooners that used to fly trade from Trinidad up the islands and down to the Leeward Islands, especially St. Kitts Nevis and Anguilla. So I just had a little piece, so if me saying we could find out anything else and call back.
I have a question. Yeah, I have a question for you, though.
Hello?
I have a question for you when you're done.
Yeah, the period I believe my father told me was about 1916, when I don't know. I don't remember what the period when they stopped. But even some people left and went to Panama when they were building the canal. Wasn't a great lot. But what happened to them who survived, they were able to get U.S. citizenship. Because I remember the two sides of the canal, call it the canal zone, who were born there were given U.S. citizenship, and who went there and walked long were given citizenship. Like this man McCain, the senator, he was born there too. But that no longer so since they turned over the canal to Panama, the Panamanian government. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Backus.
Yeah, I was going to ask you for an opinion. I wanted to know whether you thought that, like how you have in Dominica, you have ferries that run between Dominica and Guadeloupe and Martinique and so on. Do you think there's room for more ferries in the OECS? You think that would work on perhaps even a small cruise ship owned by people from the OECS that would just operate around? What do you think?
I don't believe it can work. You see, even though we have people traveling more nowadays than before, if you look back at the Federal and Maple, okay, they serve dual purposes. Like they carry cargo, freight, and passengers. But the volume of movement of people was not great enough, in my opinion. Because some years spend a whole week at sea. They say they're traveling from St. Kitts to Jamaica, maybe a whole week, and you ain't get to go land. So, really work out purposeful. But if they had some smaller ferries that travel, let's say between the windwards, and then you have some travel, maybe another one or two travel between the Leeward Islands. And my thing with those things is when you're at sea, when one is going, one should be coming back. So in case if any mishap, you have a chance to help, to rescue. Now, you have a lot of better ways to survive at sea these days than any other time. And you got better communication. It's not much in terms of communication. But I don't see the one no fast ferrying and walk, just in and walk, because I was looking through, I think it was an atlas recently, a Caribbean atlas. And they tell you the Caribbean is a place with low production and high cost. And everybody in all the islands in the Caribbean, the population, especially the educated ones, they have some very great expectations. Very, very great expectation. Mind, everybody should want the best. But then if the country cannot afford, it's another story. And then you're going to find people keep moving because they're going to look for the greener grass. Mind, a lot of petitions, my very, family and relatives, most of them live in the U.S. and the U.K. So, you see, people don't continue, but people have been moving from since creation now. Because one time I went to Jamaica time and I saw at you call these things now, a museum, a plate was made out of pewter. Something registered me and stay with me and would stay with me. And they say it was made by a pewterist from Czechoslovakia. Considering the earthquake in Jamaica was when? 1770 something. So you see how long people been moving to get to a place where action is? Port Royal was known then as the world's wickedest city. So you could imagine when you used to go on there. Interesting place. Yes, Mr. Backus, I'll leave it there for now.
All right.
If we could say anything about the movement of Kiddishan and Nivision and Gillan, because we were three of states, to Cuba and Dominican Republic, etc. I would like to hear from her.
All right, thank you very much. I know Ms. Henry's listening, and she's probably going to respond to your request as well. I take the point you make, though, that people have been moving all the time. The whole idea of, if you go way, way back, people moved depending on the seasons and what they needed. The whole idea of countries and boundaries and demarcations, and that came a bit later on. But people, when you look at the indigenous peoples, they just move. They just up and move. They went to that part, the other part, whatever. There was nothing called immigration. Just conflict sometimes would be the deciding factor. Let's go back to the phone lines and hear from another caller. Call you on the air, and good afternoon to you.
Mr. Backus, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you.
I just wish to make a second contribution briefly for the time constraint.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I listened to the conversation of Mrs. Henry. Good afternoon, Mrs. Henry, Queen Mother, about slavery and the modern aspect of slavery, but the transatlantic slave trade that took place, it is in a class by itself. I think the 40 million figure is on the estimate. Oh, you were referring to 40 million presently. But there is a figure that has been bandied about as well. Probably the same amount, 40 million has been taken out. That has been understated. It was about 100 million that crossed or attempted to cross. Many died. We have to be thankful. Just like the death that occurred, our ancestors survived atrocity. But slavery and what transpired then, it was a continuum, so to speak, from an early one across the Atlantic, where you call the trans-Saharan slave trade, taken from the West Coast also, and was taken by the Arabs to as far as China or the South Pacific Islands. Much has been spoken about that. But this one was a continuum perpetrated by persons of religious persuasions. I can speak for the one that was perpetrated, the transatlantic slavery, was specifically perpetrated by the Roman Catholic Church. And because of the continuum, who do you think perpetrated the slave trade? Persons who were, first of all, was persuaded, was indoctrinated, was however way you want to put it. There were members of the religious order, the Muslims, who were converts, specifically, not just restricted to a vast tribe in many countries in West Africa today. They were nomads. One would have even put this connotation of a Hebrew, because they were nomadic people. They grazed cattle, and they had vast areas where they traveled to find greener pastures. The Fulani or the Fulbi. They saw persons as infidels, just like how the Roman Catholics saw persons, especially in West Africa, because they practiced something different, as infidels, or whatever name, religious name, because it's a dogma you will want to brand those persons as. And they were the strictest ones. Mind you, Fulanis got captured because our ancestors just didn't just take it willy-nilly and they say, oh, I'm here, take me. So there were constantly battles and raids. And when the British would come, or the Spanish, or the Portuguese would come and tell these Fulanis and other tribes that got into the trade, they want 40 men. They're not going to take it from the Fulbi people, their own tribe. They're going to go elsewhere and find persons of different small villages, vulnerable villages. And that is how we got caught up. But we are special people because it was a prophecy. We haven't even known who we are. We're still yet to discover who we are. A lot of us read the Bible and we don't even know. We don't see ourselves in the book, so we read it from a distance when those prophecies are referring to us because of our disobedience. That's just a prelude for tomorrow. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much for your contribution today. Much appreciated. We're going to hear from our partners. When we come back, we'll say goodbye from today's program. Tomorrow we look forward to a nice discussion, nice, in quotes, discussion on the whole issue of slavery and the abolition of slavery. Of course, we're speaking about, as you rightly said, caller, you can't speak about slavery and not speak about Atlantic slave trade. I mean, there's always room for that. But at the same time, one does not want to take our eye off of what's happening in modernity, what's happening right now. And a lot of it has to do with the movement of people all over again.
Paint it, tile it, improve it. Your walls, paint it. Your floors, tile it. Your home, improve it. Huge savings at the Hosford's Building Center. Paint it, tile it, improve it. Sales event happening now. Yes. Come to Hartswood Building Center now and get savings of 25% off all paint and up to 75% off all tiles. Yes! Nothing's are gonna keep at Hartswood with up to 75% off piles of tiles in all styles and 25% off all paint. Come now and get a chance to win $500 shopping spree at Value Mart with the purchase of 5 gallons of paint or more. That's right. Buy 5 gallons or more of paint and you get a chance to win $500 in free groceries. Starting now until December 31st, 2020. It's your home. So paint it, tile it, improve it. At Hartswood Building and Nevis Center's year-end Paint It, Tile It, Improve It sale. Come now. Save big and simply paint it, tile it, and improve it. The event starts now and ends December 31st, 2020. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
All right, just about time now to say so long from today's program. I'm Clive Backus, and I'm helped today by Mr. Kevin Brown, who's the producer of today's program and who's been providing technical support as well on the board. I don't want to leave you with a selection today because a lot of what's happening in terms of trafficking in people is actually taking place in big cities as well. Some of the in the words of Bob Marley, some of the concrete jungles. I think I probably gave away the name of the song I'm going to leave you with, but that's the selection coming up right now to say so long for today. The 1st of December, wishing you and yours all the very best to you, indeed, from all of us here at Win FM, and of course from Mr. Kevin Brown and yours truly.
different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
Thank you for calling the St. Kitts Electricity Company Limited. Our offices are now closed.
Skelec is excited to introduce a new 24-hour automated call-in service. Simply call 465-2000 to report faults, to receive bill balances, and make bill payments. Yes, that's right. You can now make bill payments over the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Skelec's interactive voice response system. Access it now at 465-2000. Skelec, powering responses.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects or sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh,